actually talk to you about holding space, but this will do. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Anne Danielle, and I am Roxanne's neighbor. I see her walking and jogging and riding her four-wheeler, and her little girl's following. And anyways, so it's a real pleasure to be here today. I do a lot of things, but one of the things that I hold the most to heart, that I practice daily, it's how to hold space. And I would like to maybe talk to you a little bit about this. It's actually a process that took me 2 years to learn. And I give workshops, full day workshops. So 20 minutes is really just a little glimpse of what holding space is. And I'm currently living a situation. It's almost like if you've seen the Matrix movie. Can you hear me okay? Okay, if you've seen a Matrix movie, you know how there's stories within stories within stories that are happening, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. Well, I lost my mom on May 29th, and I had spent the whole week with her at the Au Chateau. Lost my mom, dealing with grief, the pandemic hits, so then I have to deal with a whole other situation going on, and I'm like, how am I going to deal with this? And the way I'm actually handling this quite well is that I use the technique of holding space. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what this is. Holding space for yourself and for others is very simple, but it's very complicated. When you hold space for yourself, it's when you're there for yourself, you sit and you're still. Just like if you're holding space for someone else. I started learning how to do it. I actually studied 2 years with Heather Platt, how to do this with people. You know how sometimes I'm a teacher and students would come to me and they would tell me things and they were looking for answers. And as a teacher and as a person who works with others and as an intuitive reader, people always come to me for answers. But the thing about holding space is that you become the container for someone. You become the person who listens to them, but you don't offer advice. You don't offer, you don't say anything. You can hold space for someone just by sitting there and by being, just by being quiet. And that's really, really, really hard to do because we're always thinking of the next thing to say to someone. If she tells me this, I'm going to answer this. If she says this, oh, she's looking that way, I'm going to say that. No, no, no. Holding space is about being the container. Holding space is about just being there and listening and feeling the emotions. Now, how am I doing this? How to hold space for myself? How am I doing this? Because in the past few weeks, it's been hell. There's no other words. It has been, it's been hell because I've had to deal with my emotions. I've had to deal with the fact that I have to let go of my mom, who was struck, I don't know what the word is. Elle avait Alzheimer's. She had Alzheimer's for 15 years. She had been in a home and at the Chateau and the hospital for 12 years. I had lost my mom, right? And then when she passes away, you lose something else of yourself. It's another step of losing someone that you've already lost. So how do you handle that? It's not easy, right? So I've been holding space for myself, and I'm going to tell you how I've been doing that. Now, when you hold space, the space that you hold, and this is really important, I've got it tattooed on my arm, it's in French, l'autre temps. When you hold space for yourself, is you're holding that space in liminal time. Now, what liminal time means is when an event starts and another event ends, it's the in-between that you have no freaking idea what's gonna go on, right? Liminal space can be 1 second, it can be 5 minutes, it can be 10 minutes, it can be 10 months, it could be 1 year, it could be 10 years, right? It's the space between something that's occurred and what's going to occur next that you don't know how it's going to work out. So this pandemic thing is wonderful to work on holding your own space because we know when we've been confined, right? And right now you're seeing people starting to break, and I get so many people sending me messages saying, how the hell am I going to handle this? And I'm like, you got to hold space for yourself. Let's work on this. So let's say they declare a pandemic, March 12th, we're shutting down the schools, right? And then you don't know when it's going to start over, right? You don't know when normal is going to come back. And that's when you see people starting to loop, right? you see so many people taking up different pastimes, and they're starting to do this and they're starting to do that, and then they're starting to crack, and they're like, but I'm keeping busy. Why am I not being able to be more solid within myself? And I'm like, well, you're doing too much. You need to stop. And they're like, what do you mean you need to stop? You need to stop. I don't have time to stop. Okay, well, then you'll have time to be sick. You'll have time to have panic attacks. You'll have time to deal with anxiety. And when I some people will say, well, how do you know all about anxiety? And I'm like, oh, sweetheart, I have autism. I live with someone with autism. My husband has depression. We have all this going on. My brother's a stroke survivor. He loops. He calls me 50 times a day telling me, oh my God, there's one more case. I know. We all have our stories, right? But to be quiet and to be in silence is the first thing about holding space. So how do I do that for myself? I had planned a whole day's workshop actually in May. It's been canceled for now. We're going to be doing this a whole weekend in a small group. I'm going to be teaching you how to do this, how to practice. But I have a few little tips that you can start working by yourself at home if you're interested in exploring this. On little sticky notes that I can't read what I wrote, but anyways, exploring your inner space, right? Just be. What do you mean just be? Practice being in silence. I've recently taken up walking. That's a whole other thing. If you want to read what I'm doing, just check my Facebook. I have like 15 different pages with different things I do because I put things in compartments. So right now I'm walking a lot and I'm holding space. And when I walk in silence. I can walk for like 3 hours in silence. And people say, well, doesn't that get boring? I'm like, nope. Because when you put music on your ears, it's almost like you're drowning out your thoughts, or you're drowning out what you need to be focusing on. So there's times I'll listen to music when I need to get going. I take the headphones off and I start walking. And as I walk, thoughts start coming through, right? And things start popping through that I have to explore. Sometimes I explore things when I was 5 years old and that made me cry and blah, blah, blah. And I allow myself, I'm on the treadmill bawling like a baby as I hold space for myself. And I'm like, I'm giving myself the time. I'm giving myself 3 hours. If I need to cry, I'm going to look like a bug after. I don't care, right? I do that. I give myself that time to just be in silence. Try it. If you haven't ever worked out in total silence, it's magical. You have to do it. I don't walk outside on my road. There's too many distractions. There's people, there's trees, I stay focused on a specific thing in front of my treadmill, and I just walk, right? So the movement gets me going. It moves your chakras, it moves your energy. It's almost like in French, the word is décrassing. You're taking away with a little fine toothbrush the stuff that should be coming out, and then you just deal with it. You acknowledge it. Don't sit there and start crying about your whole life every day. No. It's just acknowledging those moments and saying, I need to handle this later. So be in silence. Another thing, hold on. I wasn't supposed to be on my iPad, so my little notes have been moved. Learn how to say no. It's the time in your life, especially if you're a woman. I'm hitting 50 at the end of the month. Yay for me, I'm finally learning to say no. Do you want to do this? No. Do you want to come here and talk? No. You don't have to do everything for everyone all the time, right? You have to learn to say no. I'm actually really surprised I said yes to this, because I always say no. I don't want to do it, but this just was compelling to me. I'm like, there's someone out there who needs to hear this. So say no, and it's okay. No is a full, complete sentence. Stop coming up with excuses. Do you want to do this? No. Then deal with it, right? Holding space for yourself. I give myself routines and rituals where I spend time with myself and with my thoughts and with my silence. I have a journal. It's over there. I can't show it to you. But I have different journals for different things. I write things down and I take notes. And I'm going to invite you, because you have time to do this. Get yourself a piece of paper. Find yourself a comfortable place to sit every day at the same time. Do this for a month. I did this in Paris last year. I held space for myself. It's like the most awesome freaking thing. You take your journal, okay, and look at what's going on take notes. Next day, same time, where are you? What are you drinking? How are you feeling? What's around you? And then you see the evolution. It starts with, it's always the same thing. And then you start, it's almost like a gratitude journal, right? You start, I like my house, I like my dog, I like my, and then when you do your gratitude journal, as you hold space for yourself, you'll start noticing, oh my goodness, well, this morning, it's the first time I held my pen in 10 years that it didn't crack. Yay. You're going to start noticing little things. Those are the things that matter. We're always on superficial. We need to get within, but how do we do within? We go at the same space at the same time. We hold our spaces. What else? Rituals, say no. Oh, don't believe everything you say. You know how we have these voices in our heads that tell us things, that we're doing different things and we should be doing this? Shh. Quiet your own voices. Tell them to shut up, because they're just trying to feed the anxiety that you're feeling. So I'm working really, really, really hard on silencing the voices. When I hear you can't do this, I'm like, shh. And I imagine taking it and throwing it out, right? Hold space for yourself, hold the silence. Eat well. Absolutely, eat well to hold space for yourself. If you're going through these motions right now, of being stressed out, and you're eating everything that's in the house and you've gained 20 pounds, it's time to stop. Put the food down and get outside and go take you're bored, you're not hungry, okay? No, it's so true, right? So many people have been telling me, oh my goodness, I've gained so much weight, and I'm like, yeah, you're bored, you need to be. And they're like, well, I'm emotionally eating. It's because you're not dealing with what's inside your own space, inside your mind, inside your heart. You have to let that go, okay? Exercise. And here's another one. Ask for help. That's a tough one, because we're always the ones holding everyone, right? It's okay for you to be in someone else's container. You can come sit with me. We can do it virtually. You can say, Anne, I have no idea where to start. Send me a message, and I'll just sit with you and we'll figure it out. Ask for help. It's okay, because we're not these women who can do everything. We're not superwomen. We may think we are, but we all have a cracking point, and we're about to hit it, because May's coming and we're not done with this whole situation, right? So this is just a little bit of, I spoke too much. I probably went over my 20 minutes. I'm sorry. No. So this is just, it's sort of an idea of what holding space is. I post things, I share things, I do videos at times where I give ideas, I blog, I do all sorts of things that may be able to help you. I do it to help myself. If it helps you at the same time, it's wonderful. My latest, because I have so many pages, but the page that focuses on this is calling Healing the Chrysalis, because the chrysalis is the little, no, it's not the worm, but the caterpillar that becomes the butterfly, right? Got to heal that. Holding space will help you do that, and it'll help you see life. So, yeah, that's about what it is. And when the weather is nice, I have a small retreat planned. 10 women, we're going to sit in circle. We're going to be holding space for each other. We're going to be doing exercises, doing all sorts of interesting things. I'll put the information up, and you're welcome to join us. So if you have questions.
Cool. I'm going to unmute myself. Thank you so much, Anne. That is awesome. Yes, holding space is probably definitely one of the best things. I practice that myself as well, quite often. And sometimes I'm just sitting there, I'm holding space, and my husband's like, you didn't hear what just happened over there? Because I'm withdrawing the senses of what's going on with the kids. I'm like, no, I'm just right here, right in silence. And it just feels so, so good. Thank you. Does anybody have questions though for Anne? We could probably, like you said, if you're super interested in this, connect with Anne and be one of her 9 chicky poos that join this holding space if she has space.
I wish I was a woman.
Greg, yeah, you could be. We could give you some boobs for the day.
There you go.
Yeah.
do the workout again.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions though for Anne? Feel free, like, give her.
Find me on Facebook. I have different pages. Like I said, I do different things, but holding space is part of everything that I do. So if you have anything, my name on Facebook, you'll find me as Anne Danielle, and it's Gingras.
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you for doing this.
Chat box and see.
Yeah, just check in the chat box quickly, Anne, to see, because I think we have a question here from
Gingras. Yeah. Gingras.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Shangri-La.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Shangri-La, Anne. Nice. Okay. Awesome. No, we're good. I think we're good from Lisa. Perfect. Thank you so much, Anne. It's been a pleasure, as always, connecting with you.
I'll talk soon.
Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Reminder.
So I'm going to go here, spotlight. So a little reminder to give some donations to Family Resource Center 1 at bellnet.ca, password BodyMax, all lowercase. If you can see that, it's all uppercase because we're like, boom, but it's lowercase stuff. Yay! So fun. And yes, this bag for the first 20 people who donate, we were going to deliver this personally to your doorstep. So how cool is that? It's like, Amazon Prime right here. Just kidding. So our next speaker, so excited to hear from this speaker. This is a woman who I've known for a while as well, did her hair for her sister's wedding years and years ago in Timmins, so that was fun. She's grown a business from nothing, and this is going to be so amazing to hear from her. And she is the one who's created these beautiful bags. So we have Sarah Pitt coming on, and I'm going to find Sarah and mute myself, spotlight her, and it is Sarah's turn to chat. There she is. Found her. So she unmuted herself because she knows how. She is so good.